Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay guys, so I lied. I feel like a bad person, okay, but I'm not a bad person because I have a really good story time for you guys today. But I know I said that I was gonna post again last month. I did not. I apologize for that, okay? Apologies, please forgive me. But I also know that I was supposed to put up a how-to video on the Storytime link. That is coming soon, I swear. It's coming soon, just like give me a little bit more time, okay? The weather here has been literally garbage, like garbage, okay? I haven't been able to go outside for 2 days. My dogs are upset they can't go on the porch. It's just a whole big thing. But I have a very long story time for you guys today, okay? So grab the popcorn, grab that laundry basket that's been sitting there for like years that needs to be folded, go clean your room, and listen to this shit, okay? Because this is probably gonna be like, we're gonna be here 20 or 30 minutes, guys. I'm not gonna lie. But without further ado, let me bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, so just my quick usual little rundown to these videos in case you're new here. For most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I am doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view. If you don't like that, then you can leave, and these story times are sent in by anonymous people. I literally just tried to film this, but I messed up my makeup, so we're going again. Okay, so story time about how I found out my best friend's boyfriend was a cheater. We love that, don't we? So little background information. I was 20 years old and a sophomore in college. And the last thing I had to do before I was free from this prison was 1, finish my exams, 2, find a place to live, and 3, get a job. Now, no, I was not homeless, okay? I could have went home for the summer, but that would have been annoying as hell because my parents lived on the other side of the country, and not to mention, while I was at college, they moved away from my original hometown, so I knew absolutely nobody in the town they're in now. And not to mention, they were thinking about giving back to the world. They were both retired, right? They were bored with their lives, so they decided they were going to do a bed and breakfast at their house. If you don't know what that is, that means you let people stay the night, they wake up, they have their breakfast, and then they leave. That wasn't gonna work for me because I was not about to wake up in the middle of the night to some random guy in my house touching my underwear. Hell no. The only downside to this whole thing was the fact that my parents held literally everything and anything over my head. For example, money. Now, I really never had to pay for anything of my own, okay? The only thing that I had to do was make sure that I got good grades in school and that I was focused on getting a successful future career where I could support myself and support my family and support my grandkids, great-grandkids, everything else like that, okay? I was held to a lot of standard. So I got paid whenever I had good grades, whenever I got an A on a test, and that kind of shit. Well, since I decided to stay at college during this summer, I was cut off. Literally. And I had my own apartment near the campus. Just to show me how petty they were and how mad at me they were, they ended my lease early, which to do that, you had to pay 3 months rent. So they were willing to pay $13,000 to end my lease early. Yeah. And it wasn't like I was a bad kid or anything. It's just because I didn't follow their rules. And since all of my other friends went home for the summer, I couldn't ask anybody if they wanted to be roommates or if I could move in with them, you know? But there was this one girl that I had met and she was really nice, but we weren't like best friends. So I felt awkward when I asked her if, you know, I could stay with her. And we had only known each other for like a month or 2. So I had asked her if I could stay with her for the summer, even though I literally had no money to my name because my dad also froze my bank account. The only thing that I really had that was of use to her was a car because she would usually have to either Uber to work or walk because she didn't have a car. So she said that I could live with her and her boyfriend and she would get me a job at where she worked, but I had to pay 1/3 of the rent, 1/3 of the utilities, and I had to drive her to and from work every day that she worked until I could start paying my half. But I kept driving her after that because she didn't have a car, so. But anyways, I thought this was fair enough. I was like, great, at least I have a place to live. At least I'm not on the streets, you know, period. Well, when I went back to my apartment to grab my things, there were already movers there, and one of them just happened to be my brother, who, might I add, is a douchebag. Now, my parents did that on purpose, of course, and I knew because the first thing he said to me was, Dad said you can take everything, meaning necessities, like only your bed, your clothes, your makeup, and your shower stuff. Everything else I have to take. So don't grab any food, don't grab any of this, don't grab any of that. And I'm like, okay, great, like, fuck you. I wasn't even that shocked, to be honest, because my brother also told me that the movers weren't gonna help me move my bed or anything else to where I was gonna be staying. Like, my brother literally flew across the country just to tell me what my dad said, and just to pretty much rub it in my face, I guess. So anyways, I have to make 4 trips back and forth from my apartment to their apartment, which was 20 minutes away from mine, but my car was small as hell, so I had to strap a mattress onto the top of it, shove everything in my car. All of my windows were open. It was a mess. It was terrible. So anyways, I find a way to move all of my shit into their apartment, and when I get there, she introduces me to her boyfriend. So that night I drove her to work and I filled out a application, you know, big girl things, never had a job in my life, and I was applying to be a bartender. And I'm not gonna lie, they made a decent amount of money considering the fact that the only people who went to this bar were literally frat guys, people with daddy's money, old people who wanted to hit on the college girls, and yeah. So, you know what? It was like a good place to work because they would just go in there and blow all of their money. So period, we love that for us. So the next day I got a call, they hired me, I was super excited, and so was my friend because now we could work together, so period. And I could pay bills, yay. By the way, we are going to call her Kathy and her boyfriend Leo. Just like a little 411 on Leo, I guess. Leo was a lazy piece of shit. He has no job, he's not even in college, and he is so disrespectful to her, speaks to her in literally a way that nobody should ever be spoken to in their life. And if I say anything, he will scream at me. Like the one night we came home from work, and this was like 3 days after working there, and as soon as we walked through the door, he's accusing her of fucking her boss so that way he would hire me. Gotta love men. They're just so comical, so funny. He was like, I know Jerry, aka our boss. He wouldn't just hire her on the spot because you said to. You had to have done something with him. And she was like, well, Leo, if that's really what you think, why don't you go and ask him? And he was like, you really think I can show my face around there after what you've been doing? Knowing one of my good friends is fucking my girlfriend? And then he said, and he's probably screwing her too, and points at me. Nobody. No. So that's whenever I decided to give Leo a reality check. And I was like, honestly, maybe if you weren't so insecure, you wouldn't accuse her of fucking cheating on you. All you do is fucking sit around all day, drink beer, while your girlfriend goes out and supports you. You need to go get a fucking job, or you need to go and hit the gym because your beer gut is hanging a little low. Quick thing I just want to add in here. I would never, ever, I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression of me. I would never make fun of somebody's weight, okay? But he had me so mad in that moment that it just all came flying out. But honestly, I feel bad for saying anything in the first place because I literally just made it worse. Like when people tell you don't say anything, you'll make it worse, you're usually just like, okay, whatever, sure, no, I'm still saying something. Yeah, don't say anything because it really just does make it worse. But pretty much after I said that, he came up to me, backed me up against the wall, and started screaming in my face, literally like He was this close. He was literally spitting on me as he was screaming. In all honesty, I have no idea what he said because I literally just like ignored him. Like I was like this, like with my head to the side of the wall, like pretty much looking at Kathy like, get your fucking man. Like I understand that I was going into a situation that I really knew nothing about, but at the same time, like no. It was not acceptable at all. So of course I did feel really bad about the situation that happened. So the next day I did apologize to Kathy, but she told me, she was like, hey listen, she was like, if you want to live here, she was like, you need to not get involved in any of our arguments. Like just ignore him, which was hard for me because I'm not that girl. I'm not. So of course that pissed me off, like I said, but until I found my own place or moved back in with my parents, I just had to suck it up and deal with it. So that is exactly what I did. So fast forward, the one night, it's like 2 in the morning, I'm on Tinder, I meet this guy, he invites me over to his house, and I'm like, okay, period, you know. So he came, he picked me up, and I went over to his house. We did the nasty. So I went back home in the morning and I decided to clean myself up, aka get a shower, because I felt like a dirty whore. So I go to my room to get my shower stuff, and then I went to go and grab my toothbrush and it's missing. Yeah, which was weird because I kept everything of mine in my room. Everything. Shower stuff, toothbrush. And the fight that Leo and I had was like 2 weeks ago, so I really don't think that he was trying to get back at me for anything. And to be honest, he was too drunk to even know that we really had a fight that night, because when we woke up in the morning, he was like, hey, how you doing? So, you know, I brushed it off, went to the store, which was literally a minute down the road, so I just walked there to get a damn toothbrush that I already had. And then I go back to the house and I go to the bathroom to go and brush my teeth, finally. And I look down and bam, my toothbrush is laying on the counter in the bathroom. Little weird if you ask me, only because, like I said, I always kept my shit in my room. So of course at this point I am extremely upset. And by the way, no, I did not think to check in the bathroom before I went to the store, because like I said, I don't leave my shit in the fucking bathroom. So now I'm not gonna lie, I am obviously really upset, like I said before, and I'm thinking that Kathy came in my room and took my shit. But since I already went and got a new one, I wasn't going to make any irrational decisions just yet. So after I'm done with my shower, I go and I lay on my bed and I go to grab my vibrator and it's missing. Now listen, this one, I know I'm not going fucking crazy because my vibrator does not leave my nightstand drawer. And this is really embarrassing for me now, because now I have to find a way to confront Kathy without coming off in a weird way, because I don't want to be like, hey, you're taking my shit, but like she's taking my shit without asking me. I mean, I was also a little weirded out because Kathy also wasn't the type to go through somebody's stuff and take shit. Because one thing about Kathy has money. Okay, her dad died a few years ago. She gets an allowance from his insurance, I guess. I don't know how it works, but yeah. So after this, I decide to wait a few days to see if anything else goes missing. So a few days go by, you know, I come home from work the one night. I go into my room, I sit at my desk to take my makeup off, and I look in the trash, which I had just emptied, literally like before I left for work, and there's a bloody tampon in there and used makeup wipes. And then I'm like, what the fuck? So then, you know, I'm putting all my other stuff away, and then I realize one of my lip glosses is missing, and my really expensive mascara is missing. So like anybody else would be, I am furious. So I decide to text Kathy from the other room, and I'm like, hey, can we talk? Because I just didn't know what else to say at that point, right? So she came in my room all awkward and sat down on the bed, she was like, hey, like, what's wrong? Is something bothering you? And she didn't even sound guilty, so it made it even worse whenever I wanted to confront her. And I was like, well, I feel really awkward asking this, but, and then she cuts me off and she's like, this isn't the part where you tell me that you like me, is it? So now, I don't know whether I should feel bad or annoyed at the fact that she's trying to lighten the mood because she stole my stuff, or she's trying to lighten the mood because she really doesn't know what the hell is going on. So I'm like, well, promise me you won't get mad. And she's like, okay, I promise, like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, stuff has been going missing out of my room the past few days, like the past week. For example, you know, today I changed the trash before I went to work, and there's a bloody tampon in my trash can, and I have an IUD, aka a form of birth control that literally just stays in your cooter, and I don't get a period anymore. And she cuts me off and she's like, wait, you think that I've been stealing your stuff? And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. She starts to laugh and she gets up, goes to walk out of my room and says, have you ever thought that maybe you drink too much at work and you misplace things whenever you come home? I actually didn't think of that, but I don't think that would explain why there is a bloody tampon in my fucking trash can. So she leaves the room and I text her, quote, I'm sorry if it wasn't you, but there are only 3 people who live in this house. And if it's not you, you might need to ask your boyfriend if he's gay, because my vibrator is also missing. Girl, not during Pride Month. So after that little argument over text, I go onto Amazon and I start to look at cameras. And of course, the cheapest one that I found was $50. And a bitch was broke, so she needed to wait for her paycheck, of course, which I wasn't gonna get for a week. I could have used the tips that I was making at work, but between paying for gas and utilities and everything else, it just was not ideal. I shouldn't even have to buy a camera, but here we are. So after a week of my things being misplaced, I finally get this camera in the mail. Thank God. But before I did get this camera, I did realize that the only nights when my things would be misplaced or go missing were the nights that Kathy and I were both at work. So I did feel really bad, but I didn't say anything to her about it because I wanted to get the camera and just see what the hell was going on, because at this point, she's the only other girl that lives in the house. So there was really nobody else for me to blame. So the one night we're at work and I get a notification on my phone from the camera app saying that there has been a motion detected on the camera. And Kathy and I are both working. So I open up my phone, and right as I'm about to see like what's going on, Jerry, my boss, comes over and he's like, hey, get off your phone. You're not making money to sit and play on your phone. Whatever. So I drive myself and Kathy back to the house, and I hurry up and run to my room to go and see what was on the camera, see what the camera caught, you know. So I get on there and I see at 10:30, some girl is in my room going through my things. Lovely. And then she goes over to the closet, and she goes into one of my drawers with all of my lingerie sets, because that's where I kept my lingerie, in these drawers, and she gets changed into one of the sets right in my room. And then she sits at my desk and she starts doing her makeup. So I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck? So I run over to the drawer with all my lingerie and I'm like looking to see, you know, like if anything else was missing. But as soon as I open it, the set that she had put on was literally right on top. It was dirty. It had bodily all on that shit. I was disgusted. So I tell Kathy that we need to talk again, and she texts me back saying, I really hope you're not about to blame me for taking your shit again. Of course, I told her, no, I'm not, you know. So she comes to my room, and it's around like 2 in the morning, okay? And mind you, I haven't even watched the rest of this video yet. So I show her the video, and she doesn't say a word the entire time. Literally the entire time. So I go to fast forward the video, you know, and all of a sudden, I scroll past somebody on my bed. So then I go and I rewind the video, and it's Leo and this doing the nasty on my bed. Doing the nasty on my bed, you know. So I turned it off because I didn't want to see that shit. I actually like hurried up and jumped off my bed too because I felt extremely uncomfortable with the fact that there were two people having sex on the bed that was not me and somebody else. So I asked Kathy if she's okay, and she kind of just looks at me like, bitch. Really? So she leaves the room without saying a single word to me. But then I am woken up at 7 in the morning to my door being slammed wide open. And she's like, I have a plan. Send me that video right now. So I'm like dead. I go onto my phone, I send her this video, and I ask her what's going on. She goes, we're having a family get together tonight with my family and his, and I'm just like super confused at this point. I'm like, girl, just explain to me what is going on. She goes, I've been begging him to do this for a while, so it's not sus or anything like that, and I already got in contact with his family and my family. So at like 6 in the afternoon, his family shows up and her family does also. And in the backyard, there are like these picnic tables, right? And there's like this little grill. So Leo and his dad, Kathy's stepdad, they were all cooking on the grill while us girls were just talking. And one thing that I did realize, Leo's parents were very, very, very grateful that Leo had Kathy because they pretty much knew that Leo was a drunk and that he would never be able to support himself. So fast forward, Kathy's sister, she shows up a little bit late, and I want to say she was about like 16 or something, and she looked very, very, very familiar. So when I went into the house to go to the bathroom, I looked at that video one more time, and I could have swore the girl in the video was Kathy's sister. But the only issues with that would be the fact that the camera only showed stuff in black and white. So that was like, you know, couldn't judge it really off of that. And also, Kathy said that she had a special guest coming over during like, you know, the end of the night. So like anybody, I was thinking, oh my god, she like knows the girl who was in the video. She's about to have this bitch like, you know, like come up in here. She's gonna embarrass him, you know. So fast forward, we're all sitting in the living room and Kathy runs upstairs really quickly, and then like 2 minutes later comes back downstairs really fast. And I'm still so confused at this point. Like, I really feel like I should not be here. Like, this is like a family function about to go wrong, you know, so. But then also, I felt like I should be here because I need to be here for Kathy, you know? This is a rough thing to go through. So we're all sitting on the couch about to watch this movie when Kathy stands up in front of the TV and says, hold on guys, I have this really funny video to show you all. So, you know, she does like the thing where you can play something from your phone onto the TV. Yeah, she airplays it on the TV and presses play, and all of a sudden you see Leo and this girl screwing on my bed. My bed. Yeah, mine. So then everybody like is really silent. She pauses the video after like 5 seconds and she's like, now this is Leo, my lovely boyfriend, fucking my 16-year-old sister. Plot twist, y'all, I was shook. Anyways, back to what she was saying. She was like, and by the way, this is not the first time that they have done the nasty. And not to mention, she was also stealing shit from my roommate. Period, sis. Go off on that hoe. Anyways, she's like, oh, and by the way, guys, like my surprise guest is waiting right outside. And now I'm scared because I have no idea who this surprise guest is. She opens the door and it's the police. Yeah. Yep, it's the police. The police come in, they arrest him, and I guess the parents already knew about this. Like, they were on board with the whole thing. I mean, I guess they didn't know about the video that was going to be played on the TV, but they did decide to press charges against him because he was also 25 years old. Yeah, 25 years old. Ew. And he also got charged with having CP on his phone. If you don't know what that means, just know it's not good. After that, you know, she told her sister, she was pretty much like, listen, I will never speak to you again, and we're just gonna leave it there. And her sister was like, pulling the, but I'm only 16, I don't know what I'm doing card. I didn't even know you could pull that card in this situation. But yeah, she tried, but that did not work because she was like, all right, everybody can get the fuck out of my house. I was like, period, go off, sis, go off. After that, Kathy told me that I needed to find a new place to live because she was gonna go and move back with her grandparents over in Spain. And that's when I decided it was probably time for me to go home to my family too. Surprisingly, Kathy and I still keep in touch. We're actually way better friends than we were whenever I lived with her. But her sister ended up running away like 4 months after the whole situation. Nobody's seen her in 4 years, but Kathy was able to find her, her social media. So she like keeps up with her from a fake account, you know, from a distance, pretty much just to make sure she's safe because she really does care about her sister. And for me, I hated the fact that I had to go home to my family because once again, they were holding money over my head and me going back to college. So I had to wait on my mom and dad and brother hand and foot because they also favorited my brother. Like if he says that he thinks I should go back to college, they would be like, oh my god, that's a great idea. Who would have ever thought of that? Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of me, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. But without further ado, happy Pride Month, and I will see you guys in the next video.